Let's get to Kevin, who's a Wolves fan. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, great shows always, guys. You all right?
Thanks for joining us. What do you want to say about Matheus Nunes?
Oh, basically, well, do you guys think that Pep is going to really want someone who's throwing his toys out the pram in his squad, like playing for Man City if he's not getting the team? Because the way they rotate and all that, he's not going to get that much game time there, is he? To be honest.
Yeah, he will, Kevin. He wanted him the same way he wanted Mahrez.
Exactly, but if he's doing it at Wolves, what's to say he's not going to do it under Pep? Do you know what I mean? That's my point.
Well, I suppose the difference
same as Mahrez.
If he does it at under Pep Guardiola will get rid of him, which is what he's done to João Cancelo, for example.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but if he's doing like what my point is he's acting like a big kid, isn't he? Really, he's signed a massive contract, 5 years, 4 years with an option for an extra year, and suddenly he wants out because a big club's come calling. So, you know, that's my point.
Like Mahrez?
No, Nunes.
Yeah, but Mahrez did the same thing at Leicester. He did precisely the same thing. He down tools until he got his move from Leicester to Man City. So, with due respect to the situation, Pep Guardiola is perfectly happy to entertain that sort of behaviour.
Okay, cool. That was my opinion anyway. I just wanted to hear yours.
Kevin, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Steve is a Wolves fan. Hello.
Morning.
Morning. Thanks for coming on the programme.
Thank you very much. Yeah, just 2 points I want to make, really. First of all, I can't see there's any way that Nunes can come back into the side now. In all fairness, he had a really poor last season last year. He's come back this year and had 2 good games. But when you behave like that, I find it very difficult for fans who are paying a lot of money to go and see him to accept him back into the fold. But one thing I do want to sort of say is that Ruben Neves, for the last 2, maybe 3 years of his time at Wolves, was courted with a lot of clubs, but he played with absolute dignity, never sacked himself off, never got any fake injuries or illnesses, played every single game and left the club a legend, and he'll always be welcome back at Molineux. And he did it the right way. He always said, I want to play in the Champions League, but at the right time for the right club. And the way Nunes is going about things at the moment, if it's true, is completely over the top.
Well, maybe, Steve, that Matheus Nunes is looking at that Ruben Neves situation and thinking, I don't want that to happen to me, because he was chased by Barcelona for 2 years and ended up playing in Saudi Arabia. He wanted to play in the Champions League and it never materialised. So maybe Nunes is taking emergency action because he doesn't want to be in the same situation.
Well, the thing is with Neves, and I know people on the inside, is that he was always said, look, if we get this figure, you're welcome to go. And he was happy to accept that. And they both played well by each other. And I think the Barcelona thing came to agreed personal terms of Barcelona, but in the end they just wouldn't pay the money up front for him, which is more of a slight on Barcelona than Wolves. But I just think Neves did it the right way, and that's why he was always a club legend and always will be for that reason.
The problem is he's playing in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. I think I'll be very surprised if he's not back in the UK or in Europe in 2 years' time when he's banked some money. And, he's gone there for the reasons for his family, which you've got to accept and respect. But he'll be back at a big club in 2 years.
Okay. Cheers, Steve. Thank you very much. 03717223344. And a lot of Wolves fans saying he can't come back from this. That's precisely what he wants.
Well, okay. Well, I'm not entirely sure that's the most pragmatic of solutions. The fact that he's behaved badly, that means that people are not beyond redemption. Everybody's beyond redemption if he's behaved stupidly. And at the centre of this will be an agent. Yes, of course, he instructs his agent, so he has to take responsibility for what his agent does on his behalf. But these are young boys that don't really know their backsides from their ear holes, and they need to be guided properly. And if Wolves are prepared to sell him, then they've created a situation by making it public domain knowledge, or maybe the agent has, that he doesn't want to train, and that creates a division. But in order to facilitate a solution, either Wolves, if by the logic of the fans, Wolves bend over them and let Man City just do what they want. Our valuation is 47 million quid, and that's the end of the discussion because we're Man City. Oh, great, fantastic. That's all well and good if you're a Man City supporter and a Man City person, but it's not so good if you're. I think Wolves have got to hold the line here, and if that means the player has got to have his mind concentrated into the realities of who's in control of this situation, which is Wolverhampton Wanderers with the registration length of the contract they've got this kid on, then that's what it needs to be. And the Wolves fans should be saying, we hope our club concentrate this young man's mind and point out the error of his ways.
I read this morning that it was 4 years left on his contract, and there is an option of a further 12 months. So No wonder they're asking for top dollar.
Well, absolutely. They've put themselves in a protected position. Again, the agent, if he wanted to create this division, because it will be coming from the agent, not just because I want to point my finger at the agents for everything they do, but most of the time it's the agent that creates a division because the main reason they make money is by moves. So here we have a situation. If you wanted to have that situation, you should put a
The
release
agent's
clause
not
in there.
fabricating interest from Manchester City, though, is he?
I'm not saying he is, but whoever would be telling this young man that this is a good move, I tell you what, down tools. That's a good move. That's a good look. That's the way you should behave. That will be coming from the people that are around him.
But if that
because
works,
he'll need that support.
Where the situation with Ruben Neves didn't work, then you can understand why they did it.
Completely different circumstances, completely different players, completely different economics as far as the constructive deal. Who knows what was behind the reason why Ruben Neves didn't get his move to Barcelona? But in this instance, Wolves have made their position seemingly quite clear. They're prepared to sell the player. You meet our valuation, or you go away.
You think it'll be done by the time we finish on Friday evening?
Well, I hope that Wolves make Manchester City move. I don't care if it's Man City, if it was Liverpool, if it was Manchester United, if it was Arsenal, if it was Tottenham, if it was Crystal Palace. I wouldn't care who it was. I'd be more concerned about Wolverhampton Wanderers putting a representative price tag on a player that, that they bought him for 40 million quid, a 15-16% increase on a player that's clearly sought after by one of the most desirable teams in the world isn't a huge increase. So they're not. It's not as if they're pushing the envelope beyond the realms of reasonable expectation. Man City are relying on the fact that they're Manchester City and that the player will want to come to Man City. Because if this bid had come in from, with due respect, let me think of one, and whoever I say I'm going to offend somebody, Aston Villa. I bet the player wouldn't be kicking off quite as rough. I wouldn't mind going to Aston Villa.
So do you think by the fact
Wolves.
that City have made it public, actually they've almost sort of put it into the mind that he's got to agitate for a move?
I think they'll price it into their thinking, yeah. Because ultimately, why would you want a player that has that characteristic? That the player that, some would say was a strength of character. He shows his determination. I would say it's a lack of integrity. I would say it's a lack of morality about the obligations that you have.
But by making it public, City knew he was going to do this, or thought that it was a possibility that he might do this to force it through?
No, I'm talking about the players' conduct. I'm not talking about Man City. Man City put it in the public domain because that's what football clubs do, and they know that it creates energy around the transaction and puts people into perspective. I personally think that it's a very simple transaction, and the Man City fans will say, well, why should we just pay what Wolves want us to pay? Because it's their bleeding player. That's how it works. And the bottom line is the player situation, and this is why football needs to be stronger, and Wolves need to be stronger in this situation, because you've signed him on a 4-year contract to protect your interests. Then protect your interests.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.